Gary Peter here. I just want to go through quickly, let's say the generation of squash. Let's say when you start, there's certain things you should be doing to get better and to improve your squash and everything as well. But as you get better and you get stronger and you get fitter and all the rest of it, there's different ways of hitting that should start to develop through your game. So we start with a beginner. Then basically what they should do is have their wrist generally cocked, which is what we taught as like 30 years ago. Our racket comes around, elbow not too high, but we bring it in here. We drop our racket back. We come through with our elbow first, and we finish with an open face, and we finish up around about there. So it looks like this, and it goes nicely, and it's all pretty terrific. So that's all pretty cool. So what happens is, once you get a little bit better, you can start to then change your swing slightly. You cannot have as big a swing, don't have as big a circle, go with a shorter preparation circle. So I do the same things but reduce the size of the back part and then bring through nice and strong. So if I just go around a little bit and then it gets a little bit neater. It's a little bit more body work coming into it to get the outcome, but it's still pretty neat. We can start to get rid of the follow through as you get stronger and you get better, so you don't need the follow through. You can use it sometimes, you use it from the back of the court more than you do from the front of the court. So we can start to what's called punch hit a little bit more. So we can come from here, we've reduced our backswing a little bit, we can start to punch hit a little bit more. So here, I can start to not follow through so much, and I still get a pretty good power through the ball. I'm just using more core muscles and I'm actually striking through the ball a little bit more with core muscles rather than trying to get everything from a fast arm and so on. Then as you get stronger and stronger, you'll start to get rid of all that preparation stuff, because generally what will happen is you'll teach people to go slow and then we'll go through. But you can start to get rid of that preparation stuff, and what you'll do is you'll actually have your prep back here so you can't read it, and then you'll go really strong off a strong base. So you go from there and then you'll go through. So what happens is it's very much harder to read when and where I'm going to hit it. And that's what happens as far as that goes. You still have got all this other stuff going, the core muscles and whatever else, and yes, you can hit off either foot. So you can hit off your front foot, you can hit off your back foot. It doesn't make any difference because that one there goes really well off your back foot. There's no problems at all. After that, I'll do the rest from my back foot because I'm more comfortable there. It gives me more options and more ability to then disguise the shots and make it more difficult for people to read. So what happens is, from here, I'll then reduce my swing even further, and I'll start to keep my wrist with my body here, there, and that starts to get really good. As you see, that's where I'm more or less in myself when I do, so I'm a bit more capable at it. So I don't do all the other stuff that much. So that becomes pretty neat. So what I've done now is I've reduced everything and I've gone with a short follow through, used core muscles more and gone target outcome and all the rest of it. The benefit of all that is this here, because that's now cross court and you can't read it because it just happens. It's much harder to read the ball. And this is what happens in PSA. In PSA, this is a problem when OK players watch PSA and they go, oh, I'm just going to do that. And it's just so difficult because what happens is the ball, like they come in here and they're doing everything with all this cut and kill and all this wonderful stuff, but they're doing it so short, of such a strong body, of such a short motion, that it's really hard to read and really hard to see deliberately, so the other guy can't work it out. So people don't even know what they're looking at a lot, what's going on, because all they see is this guy just going crack and think they're just doing it with their wrist and flicking their wrist through the ball and all the rest of it. There is a component of that, but it's nowhere near what people believe. It's really about muscle strength through the ball off your core and hitting the ball really strong, and then it goes nuts. So from there, bang, and the outcomes will be all about target, where the ball lands and the quality, how quickly you can get it there off a short base that you can't read. Sounds very, very, very tough to understand everything, but I really just wanted to just make this video quickly, just so you could understand that it's not, this is not your forehand. Your forehand just doesn't do this and doesn't do that, because you can't do that every shot from everywhere. You generally have got no time, you've got no balance, and you haven't got time for all this nice fancy big stuff that everybody can read from everywhere. So what often happens is you're coming forward, coming back, or wherever you're going to a ball, and you've got no time and just doing whatever you can just to get the ball back half the time. If you develop a game where you reduce everything, And that's what happens. You start from big when you learn, and then you just reduce it, reduce it, reduce it, reduce it, to the stage where it goes bang, and then it's really good. So the essence of everything is you start with a big, early, controlled swing, where this happens, that happens, that happens, and balance and timing and everything is wonderful, ball position to body and stuff, and then you just reduce everything. So better players reduce their backswing, they reduce their follow-through, they reduce the whole motion of their swing, and they get just as much power and twice as much accuracy virtually, because it's controlled, 100% controlled muscles. That's the guts of squash. That's the generation of change. And so if you're working out how to improve your game, if you haven't reduced your swing, that's possibly the best way you can go. There's other things like the timing of the ball and when you hit it and how it works, and also the game plan stuff and all the rest of it. That's the beauty of squash. It's just so much involved in it that it's really quite tough. There you go. Start with the big stuff, drop it down, make it smaller, make it shorter, and you'll just understand your capabilities will go through the roof when you learn that if you don't turn your shoulders and you go from here and you go bang there, you can still get serious power out of it. It's really hard to read and it's a phenomenal way to go. That's what the guys are doing on the world stage today. So that's the generation of a forehand squash swing.